Hello dear students. In science, mathematics is a very important subject for understanding of remaining subject also. So that's why in science, in mathematics, there is a numbers are very important. So we already studied so many numbers like natural numbers, whole numbers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, integers, and all type of real numbers. And we know all about very well. But beyond that, there are some another numbers, and today we are going to discuss that different numbers जे आपण आतापर्यंत शिकले नाहीत असे नंबर आपल्याला आज डिस्कस करायचे आहेत आणि वाय इट इज नेसेसरी टू स्टडी द डिफरंट नंबर्स बिकॉज up to the real number system it is not sufficient. Why it is not sufficient? Now we are see some examples here. We know that under root of 25, everybody know that. What is the square root of 25? There are two values, two real numbers. One is plus 5 and another is minus 5. Because when we squaring plus 5 we get 25, when we squaring minus 5 we also get 25, and that's why the square root of 25 are plus or minus 5. Similarly, can you tell me the square root of minus 25? Is there any real number whose square is minus 25? Is there any rational number, any real number, any complex number? No. Here any real number we can't get the its square as minus 25. म्हणजे कुठल्याही रियल नंबरचा स्क्वेअर हा निगेटिव्ह कधीच नसतो हे आपल्याला चांगलं माहिती आहे आणि म्हणून आपल्याला असे स्क्वेअर रूट काढायची गरज आहे. We want to find the square root of negative real numbers, and within our real number system it is not possible. It is not possible to find a real number whose square is negative. And that is our important thing for a new complex number system, new number system. So here we solve some another complex numbers. We solve some equations like x square minus 100 is equal to 0. Say this is a quadratic equation. We know that, everybody know that it is a quadratic equation. And how this quadratic equation can be solved? An equation solved means what? To find the values of unknowns like x here. Here x is unknown, our variable. We want to find the value of proper values of x in which the values of x can be satisfied by this equation. Means when we substitute the value, proper value of x in the left hand side, and while subtracting with the 100 we must be get the 0 and right hand side. That is our solution. Okay, that is the method of solution. So here by adding 100 both sides we get x square is equal to 100. Everybody know this is simple step. Now find the square root both sides. When we find the square root of x square, it become x. And similarly, as like previous example, root 25, what is the square root of 100? Plus or minus 10, right? Because square of plus 10 is 100, square of minus 10 also 100. So there are two values of x, one is 10 and another is minus 10. Okay, so these are the solutions for the given equations. Similarly, now I am solving the next quadratic equation, that is x square plus 100 is equal to 0. Now is it possible to solving this equation here as like previous example, previous equation? Let's see what happened here. So here x square is equal to minus 100. By subtracting 100 from both the sides we get this step, x square equal to minus 100, isn't it? Now find the square root of both the sides, square root of left hand side, similarly square root of right hand side. So the square root of x square, we find here x only because square of x is x square, whether it is positive or negative, no botheration. Now is equal to, here I am writing minus 100, my square root of minus 100. Now how to find the square root of minus 100? In a real number system it is not possible. Here square root of 100 we find plus or minus 10. But here is the square root of minus 100 plus 10 or minus 10? Not, because square of plus or minus 10 is not, we get there minus 100, and that's why its answer plus or minus 10 is not possible. That is wrong answer. Okay, so for that we are doing what now? By splitting this number minus 100 into 100 into minus 1, because the product of opposite side is negative, and therefore we split this number minus 100 as 100 into minus 1. Okay, why we split that number? Because one number we got positive and one got negative, and square root of positive is possible in real number system. So in next page I am writing here, see what I am writing. Under root of minus 100 can be split as a root 100 into root minus 1. Both the values are same here. Root 100, root minus 1, these are similar values, no problem. But here the root 100 is exclusively positive value, and so now we can find the square root of positive number, and it is plus or minus 10. So I am just writing here positive only, that is plus 10. Now into what about root minus 1? This can't find in real number system, because there is no any real number whose square is minus 1. And that's why I am keeping this number as it is, that is minus 1. So 10 into root minus 1. We know that this 10 number is strictly real number here. This is the real number, no doubt. Everybody know that this is a strictly a real number. But this is not a real number. And now to find the square root of non-real number, here we use another new number system whose name is complex number system, or this is called as a imaginary number, because it is not real. हा रियल नाही आहे म्हणून ह्याला काहीतरी म्हणायचं आहे, म्हणून आपण ह्याला कॉल करणार आहोत imaginary number. And that is a very important unit to develop a new number system like complex number system. So I am calling this number as a imaginary number. You can say it is an imaginary number. Imaginary number. And now multiplying these two, real number into imaginary number, both the multiplication gives an imaginary number. This is the imaginary number now, means root minus 1, but symbolically this imaginary number can be represented, can be denoted by another notation like I, but it is exactly not I. It is a Greek alphabet, call it as a iota. This is the iota. This is the Greek alphabet. In Greek language there are, like English, so many alphabets, and one of the alphabet is iota, and that iota by I is represented the imaginary number root minus 1. So keep in your mind, I means root minus 1, and this is exclusively not a real number. This is only imaginary number, and this imaginary number is used to find the solution of such quadratic equations whose solutions exclusively not in real number system, like x square plus 100 equal to 0. This असे जे इक्वेशन असतात याला आपण रियल नंबर सिस्टम मध्ये सोल्यूशन फाइंड करू शकत नाही. अशा क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशनला सॉल्व करण्यासाठी आपण इमॅजिनरी नंबरचा यूज करत असतो, आणि त्याच्यासाठी आम्हाला हे आय सारखे इमॅजिनरी नंबर इंट्रोड्यूस करावे लागतात, घ्यावे लागतात, ज्याचा आपण रियल नंबर सोबत मल्टिप्लिकेशन करू शकतो. पण जेव्हा तुम्ही असे रियल नंबर आणि इमॅजिनरी नंबर ॲड करताल, व्हेन यू ॲड रियल नंबर अँड इमॅजिनरी नंबर लाईक 10 and root minus 1, there is we get the another symbol, another notation, another form, and that number is 10 plus I, or it write as 10 plus root minus 1. What happened here? One operation between real number and imaginary number, and that is a addition. हे जे ऑपरेशन इथं केलेलं आहे याच्यामुळे 10 plus I असा नंबर आम्हाला डोळ्यासमोर येतो. So 10 plus I, it is the addition of real number and imaginary number. One number is imaginary, one number is real. So these two numbers cannot be added further. These two numbers cannot be added. So the addition is keep as it is, 10 plus I. One real number, one imaginary number. Cannot you add amongst themselves. That's why 10 plus I itself a new number. 10 plus I itself a new number, and we know that this number is not a natural number because we know the natural numbers. This is not whole number because we also very well known about the whole numbers. So 10 plus I is not whole number. It is not integer like z, set of integer z like z. So this is not an integer. This is not a rational number, set of rational number q, because we know what types of rational numbers are there. And this is not irrational numbers, and it means this is not a real number. हा जो नंबर बनला आहे ॲडिशन ऑफ रिअल नंबर आणि इमॅजिनरी नंबर पासून, हा नॅचरल नंबर नाही आहे, होल नंबर नाही आहे, इंटिजर नाही आहे, रॅशनल नाही, इरेशनल नाही आणि रिअल पण नाही आहे. म्हणजे याचा अर्थ हा या नंबर्सपेक्षा डिफरंट आहे, वेगळा आहे. आणि अशा नंबरला म्हणतात कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर्स. And all such numbers, when you in group form, it become a set of complex number denoted by capital C. So in capital C, what types of numbers? Two parts, two numbers. One is real number and another is a imaginary number. When we take the pure real number, this is called as a real part of the complex number. याला काय म्हणतात? रियल पार्ट. आणि जो हा नंबरचा कोइफिशियंट, इथं पण रिअलच नंबर असतो कारण मल्टिप्लिकेशन विथ वी कॅन टेक एनी रिअल नंबर्स देअर. आणि असा जो नंबर असतो याला म्हणतात इमॅजिनरी पार्ट. म्हणजे बघा कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर आपण जे आता नवीन ऐकत आहोत आज, त्यामध्ये दोन पार्ट असतात. त्या दोन पार्टपैकी बरं का एक प्युअरली रिअल असतो, एक प्युअरली रिअल पार्ट असतो आणि दुसरा रिअल नंबर असतो विथ इमॅजिनरी नंबर, आणि त्याला म्हणायचं इमॅजिनरी नंबर किंवा इमॅजिनरी पार्ट. ह्या दोन पार्टच्या कॉम्बिनेशनमुळं आयदर बाय ॲडिंग ऑर सबट्रॅक्टिंग बोथ विल बी अलाउड देअर. तर ॲडिशन केल्यानंतर जो नंबर फॉर्म होतो त्याला म्हणतात कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर. हा आपला कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर आहे. आता ह्या कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबरचे वेगवेगळे अल्जेब्रा, असे वेगवेगळे अल्जेब्रा तुम्हाला पाहायला मिळतील. म्हणजे जसं तुम्ही रिअल नंबर्समध्ये जे जे काही करू शकता ते सगळे ऑपरेशन्स या कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबरला पण लागू होतात. आणि हे इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट आहे याच्यातला की हे जे ॲडिशन, मल्टिप्लिकेशन, सबट्रॅक्शन, स्क्वेअर रूट और सॉल्विंग द इक्वेशन्स विथ द कोइफिशियंट ऑफ कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर, हाऊ वी कॅन डन देअर, हे सगळं इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट या कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबरमध्ये आपल्याला शिकायला भेटणार आहे. Okay, so we stop our discussion about the new number, complex number. Thank you.